She gave a veteran her last dollar. She thought no one would notice. But then the Marines arrived with tears in their eyes. Emma Larson was a cashier in a small Ohio town. She struggled to pay her bills. Richard Hayes was a quiet customer. He counted coins for bread and milk. One day, Emma's small act of kindness changed everything. What brought the Marines to her doorstep? Why did they thank her? Have you ever helped someone without expecting a reward? Let's find out. Welcome to True Quiet Stories. Let's uncover what happened in this story. In a quiet Ohio town, winters are cold, the struggles are hard. Emma Larson lived there. She was 25 years old. She worked as a cashier at Miller's Market. It was a small grocery store on Main Street. Emma's days were long. She scanned barcodes and counted change. She smiled for customers, but they rarely smiled back. Her blue uniform was faded and hung loosely on her. She worked long hours, often, skipping meals. Emma lived alone in an apartment above the store. The heater barely worked, making more noise than heat. Her parents died years ago in a car accident. Emma had only old photos to remember them by. She kept going. She worked hard. But she had a kind heart. She gave kindness. It was all she could afford. Emma's life in Millfield was tough. The town had seen better days. Many shops on Main Street were closed, their windows boarded up with splintered wood. The people faced hard times, their faces showing the strain of survival. Emma felt that struggle every day. She grew up in Millfield in a small house on Elm Street. Her parents raised her with love. Her father, Tom, was a mechanic. Her mother, Clara, was a schoolteacher. They died when Emma was 17. It was a car accident on Route 33. Emma had been at a friend's house studying for a math test. The news came late that night. Her world broke apart. She left school to work, taking any job she could find. She bussed tables and cleaned houses before getting a job at Miller's Market. Her apartment was small. The walls had peeling paint. The heater did not work well. Emma shivered at night. She dreamed of a better life. She wanted to go to college and be a nurse, but college cost money. She had none. Her paycheck paid rent, and little else. Most days she ate cheap food like instant noodles or discount bread. Emma's childhood was full of warmth, even with little money. Her father's laugh was loud. He came home with grease on his hands. He would lift Emma and spin her around. Her mother's voice was soft. She read bedtime stories. They had a small house. Summers were the best. Her dad grilled hot dogs in the backyard. Her mom set out a picnic blanket. They ate under the stars. Emma felt safe. Those memories were her strength. After the accident, she held on to them. She had a box in her apartment. It had her father's watch, stopped at the time of the accident. It had her mother's scarf, faded but soft. It had a letter her mom wrote for her 10th birthday. The letter said, "Always be kind, Emma, even when the world isn't kind to you." Emma read that letter often, especially on hard nights. She wrapped the scarf around her shoulders. She closed her eyes. She felt her parents close. Emma dreamed of studying nursing to help people like her mother had helped her students. She imagined herself in a nurse's uniform, caring for others, offering comfort in hard times. But college was a far-off dream. Her paycheck barely covered rent. Most days she ate instant noodles or stale bread. She learned to stretch every penny. She ignored the hunger that kept her awake. But Emma never let her heart harden. She believed in kindness, in giving what little she had. It was the one thing she could control in a world that had taken so much from her. Every morning at 7 a.m., the bell above the door rang. Richard Hayes walked in. He was 72 years old. People in town called him the Old Man. He pushed a rusty cart with his few things: a tattered sleeping bag, a cracked flashlight, a small tin box. His face was old and tired. Deep lines told stories. He never shared them. He wore a faded green jacket, a soldier's jacket. Around his neck he had a dog tag hidden under a scarf. The scarf was old and worn, Richard always bought the same items: bread, milk, sometimes a can of tuna. He counted his coins. His hands shook. He was careful. Richard lived in a shelter behind the train tracks. He had a tarp tied between two trees. His sleeping bag was thin. He'd lost everything after the war. Vietnam took his piece. He had nightmares. He felt guilt. He came home to no welcome. People were unkind. His wife, Ellen, was his hope. She died in 1995 of cancer. Richard sold their house to pay for her care. He could not save her. After that, he walked away. He did not want help. He wanted to be alone. Richard's time in Vietnam was a dark memory. He was a staff sergeant in the 1st Marine Division in Quang Tri in 1971. The jungle was thick. His squad was close. But one night, an ambush came. The enemy attacked. His friend Tommy was shot. He died in Richard's arms. Richard tried to save him. He could not. That night stayed with Richard. He saved 20 men, carrying them to safety. But he lost Tommy. The guilt was heavy. He came home to anger. People did not care. They called him names. He could not face the world. Emma noticed Richard on her first week. Something about him made her stop. He was quiet, but had pride. Emma saw many customers struggle to pay, but Richard never asked for help. He never complained. Sometimes he put items back. Over months, Emma watched for him. She gave him extra bread. She wanted to help. Richard nodded his thanks. It meant a lot. One cold Tuesday in January, snow fell hard. The store's heater was broken. Emma stood at her register. Her fingers were cold. Richard came in late. His jacket had snow on it. His scarf was frozen. His face was pale. He placed his items on the counter: bread, milk, a can of tuna. Emma rang them up. The total was $4.87. Richard counted his coins. His hand shook. He had $4.50. He looked in his pocket. He found nothing. His face fell. "I'll put the tuna back," he said. His voice was soft. He looked ashamed. Emma looked at the can, then at Richard. She knew he had not eaten much. She reached into her pocket. She felt her last dollar. It was for her lunch, but Richard needed it more. She slid the dollar across the counter. "Don't worry," she said. "I'll pay the rest." Richard looked up. His gray eyes met hers. "Thank you, miss," he said. He took his items and walked out. The bell rang. The cold took him again. Emma watched him go. Her heart felt heavy. She thought of her father. He was always kind. She thought of her mother. She taught her to help others. Emma felt good, but she was scared. She had no money left. She had no food for the day. She pushed the worry away. She knew she did the right thing. Emma's kindness was noticed, but not in a good way. Her co-workers saw it. The store manager, Kathy, walked over. She was tough. "You gave away your money?" she asked. Her voice was hard. "That old man is not your problem. You can't buy food for yourself." Emma looked down. Her cheeks turned red. "He needed it more," she said. Kathy was not happy. "You're too soft, Emma. He'll come back tomorrow. He'll want more free things." Another cashier spoke up. His name was Jake. He smirked. "Yeah, I bet he's lying," Jake said. "He's not a vet." Those types have sob stories. Emma held the counter. She did not argue, but their words hurt. She saw Richard's dog tag. She knew he had been through a lot, but doubt came to her mind. Was she wrong? Outside, Richard walked through the snow. His cart made noise. He stopped under an old awning at an empty store. He sat down. He ate his bread, tearing off small pieces to make it last. People walked by. They did not look at him. Some crossed the road. Teens by a coffee shop pointed and laughed. Richard did not look up. He was used to this. He was invisible. The town forgot him long ago. Richard went to his shelter behind the train tracks. He had a tarp tied with old cords. He had a sleeping bag. The cold was hard. He had a deep cough. He needed medicine, but had no money. He held a photo of his wife, Ellen. "Almost there, Ellen," he said. His breath made fog in the air. The alley was small. The walls had dirt. The ground had trash. Richard felt weak. Back at the store, Emma's day went on. Her stomach growled. She had no lunch. She felt dizzy. A customer saw her. Her name was Mrs. Harper. She bought canned peaches. "Are you okay, honey?" she asked. Emma smiled. "Just tired," she said. It was a lie. Mrs. Harper left. Later, she came back with a sandwich. "You need this more than I do," she said. Emma's throat felt tight. "Thank you," she said. What would you do if you saw Emma helping others? Think about it. Mrs. Harper's kindness made Emma feel warm. She ate the sandwich. It was her first real meal in days. But she still thought of Richard. She worried about him. She wanted to help more. She did not know how. She worked the rest of her shift. The cold was hard. Customers came and went. Emma kept smiling. She kept working. The next day, Richard did not come. Emma looked at the door. She waited. Every bell made her hope, but it was not him. She worried. Was he okay? Did he eat? Was he too cold? Richard was in an alley. He was too weak to walk. He sat against a wall. He spoke to himself. He held the photo of Ellen. "Just a little longer," he said. He felt cold. He felt tired. He needed help. But he did not know how to ask. Mrs. Harper could not forget Emma. That night she sat at her table with a cup of tea. She looked at her phone. She took photos at the store for her blog. One photo made her stop. It showed Emma giving her $1 to Richard. Mrs. Harper saw the dog tag on Richard's neck. Her husband was a Vietnam vet. She helped at the local VFW. She posted the photo online in a veterans group. She wrote, "Does anyone know this man? He's at Miller's Market in Millfield, Ohio. I think he's a vet." Mrs. Harper's post spread fast. It went to many groups. Local news saw it. A reporter came to the store. Kathy did not want to talk. Jake did. Emma gave him money, he said. The reporter wrote a story. It went online. Many people saw it. They wrote comments. "This is what America should be," one said. "We need more Emmas," another wrote. Emma did not know this. She did not have a smartphone. She did not see the story. All she knew was worry. She thought of Richard. She spent Wednesday night awake. She shivered under her blanket. She wanted to look for him, but did not know where to start. On Thursday morning, Emma went to work. She was tired. The store was quiet. She stood at the register. She thought of Richard. She had not seen him since Tuesday. At 10 a.m., the bell rang. Emma looked up. She hoped it was Richard. It was not. A tall man walked in. He wore a Marine uniform. His chest had medals. His face was serious, but his eyes were kind. More Marines came in. Their boots were loud. Customers stopped. The store was silent. The Marine walked to Emma. His name was Colonel Brooks. "Are you Emma Larson?" he asked. Emma nodded. Her hands shook. "Yes, sir," she said. Brooks took off his cap. "I'm Colonel Daniel Brooks, United States Marine Corps. We're here because of what you did. You helped Staff Sergeant Richard Hayes." Emma froze. "The old man with the bread?" she asked. Brooks nodded. "That's right. Because of you, we found him." Brooks told the story. He spoke of Vietnam in 1971. They were in the jungle. The enemy attacked. Hayes saved 20 men. "He saved my life," Brooks said. "He got the Silver Star. But he was forgotten until you helped him." The crowd listened. They felt the weight of his words. Richard stood beside the podium. His head was down. He had not heard his story told like this in years. He felt the pain again. He remembered his friends. He felt guilt, but he also felt pride. Emma listened. She could not believe it. The man she helped was a hero. She thought of her own life. She felt invisible, too. She understood Richard. The parking lot looked different. A podium was in the center. American flags stood around it. The town of Millfield came to watch. The Marines brought Richard forward. He had a new jacket. The VFW gave it to him. His dog tag was polished. His Silver Star was on his jacket. Emma stood next to him. She wore a borrowed coat. Her eyes were wide. Colonel Brooks went to the podium. 54 years ago, staff, Sergeant Richard Hayes saved my life, he said. He saved 19 other Marines in Vietnam. Hayes carried us to safety. He was under fire. Shrapnel hit his leg. He did not stop. He got the Silver Star, but he was forgotten, until one woman showed kindness. The crowd looked at Emma. She turned red. Her hands were tight together. Brooks stepped down. He walked to Emma. He held a letter and a small box. "Miss Larson," he said, "this letter is from the Marine Corps. It thanks you. Your kindness helped us find Richard, and this—" He opened the box. It had a medal. "This is for you." Emma's eyes had tears. Brooks put the medal on her coat. The crowd clapped. Emma did not hear them. She looked at Richard. He smiled at her. It was his first real smile in years. The medal was special. The letter was from the Marine Corps. It said Emma was kind. It said she helped a hero. Emma held the letter. Her hands shook. She did not feel like a hero. She just did what was right. But the crowd clapped. Brooks looked at her with thanks. She felt seen. Richard spoke. His voice was rough. "I did not smile for a long time," he said. "But you, miss, you gave me more than $1. You gave me hope." Emma cried. She took Richard's hand. His hand was cold, but his grip was strong. The Marines saluted. Their eyes had tears. The crowd stood and clapped. The mayor spoke next. His name was Harold Grayson. "We let Richard down," he said, "but today we make it right." The town gave Richard an apartment. People donated money. A diner gave him free meals. The VFW welcomed him. He shared his stories. Richard's new apartment was small, but it was warm. It had a kitchen and a bed. The VFW helped him move in. They gave him a photo of his squad in Vietnam. Richard held it. He felt proud. Emma's life changed too. The medal came with money. She fixed her heater. She bought a warm coat. The town saw her. She was a hero. People gave her tips. Mrs. Harper held a bake sale to help Emma go to college. Emma enrolled in night classes. She studied to be a nurse. She worked hard. She felt her parents' pride with every step she took toward her dream, their lessons guiding her, their love a light in her heart. She attended her first class with a nervous smile, her mother's scarf draped over her shoulders, a reminder of the kindness that had brought her here, a kindness that had changed her life, that had shown her the power of giving, even when you have little to give. Every Sunday, Emma and Richard met at the diner. They drank coffee. They talked. Richard spoke of Ellen, his wife. He told her about their first date by the river. He shared how they'd sat on a checkered blanket, the sun setting over the water, Ellen's laughter filling the air as they tossed breadcrumbs to the ducks, her hand in his, a moment of peace that had felt like a promise of a life. Together, a life that had been cut short but never forgotten. He spoke of the way Ellen had loved flowers, how she'd plant daisies in their small garden every spring, her hands covered in dirt, her smile brighter than the sun, a memory that brought a softness to his voice, a softness Emma cherished, a softness that spoke of healing, of love, of a man who was slowly coming back to life after years in the shadows. Emma told him about her parents, about her father's laugh, her mother's stories, the way they'd made her feel safe even when life was hard. She shared how her father had taught her to ride a bike, his hand steady on the back of the seat. As she wobbled down the street, his voice cheering her on, telling her she could do it, a memory that made her smile, that made her feel her father's presence even now, years after he was gone. She told Richard about her mother's garden, how she'd plant tulips every fall, their bright colors a burst of joy in the spring, a tradition Emma hoped to continue one day, a way to honor her mother, to keep her memory alive in the small acts that had meant so much. They were not alone anymore. Richard called her kid. It made her smile. Emma gave him a scarf she made. It was blue. Outside the store, a plaque was placed. The Marines gave it. It said, in honor of Staff Sergeant Richard Hayes and Emma Larson. Kindness can echo louder than words. Spring came to Millfield. Richard sat on a bench. He watched children play. His eyes were bright. He helped at the VFW. Emma waved from the register. Her smile was big. She wore her mother's scarf now. Millfield changed. The town square became a happy place. The diner held veterans' breakfasts. The town grew closer. They were proud. Kindness made a difference. In a world that forgets its heroes, one small act of kindness made a difference. A forgotten veteran was remembered. A young woman learned her worth. Know someone whose kindness changed a life? Share their story in the comments. Type honor if you believe kindness matters. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to True Quiet Stories for more untold tales of valor. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.